I think I'm gonna title this "Breaking the Spells," breaking all spells, because you've been spellbound, and we all have. Don't know it. I'm pretty sure that when you saw Kamala and Trump facing off, you could tell by her names, her names plural, her first name and last name and all that. You could tell that MAL is bad. She loves the evil. And so what we saw there was two priest class facing off. We saw the witches and we saw the Freemasons or the Jesuits. For Trump to rise up and be a billionaire, there had to be some kind of script writing to put him in that place, whether it was a man-made script or God's script or whatever. But you're always going to see the priest class, the Kabbalists, the Wiccans, the Jesuits, and the Freemasons, and there's probably another priest class out there. They're always fighting for control, right? And so they're going to put a king in office or a leader in office that they want in office. And so a lot of the reason that he won so far is because a lot of the witches don't want another witch running the show because they're all jealous of the other one. And notice when Hillary was running, Trump won. When Kamala was running, Trump won. So the script, the getting shot in the ear and all that stuff, it was all scripted for the whole society to believe the script. It's all scripted. So when you break all these spells, these fake reality spells, these sorcery spells, they tell you in the movies, you got the Sorcerer Supreme, you got these people who were under the teaching of the sorcerer, and then they found out that the sorcerer was using stuff from the dark side and they left, But they were just as guilty because they were trying to go into the dark side or the unseen realm to manipulate the natural realm. And you saw with Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, they were just two faces of the same, two images, both of them doing the same tricks, fighting each other. One had this kind of spell, one had this kind of spell. Just the devil fighting himself, really. This is why Wile E. Coyote always destroys himself. This is why the flesh creature always destroys himself. And if you read Galatians 5:19, 20, 21, you'll see that sorcery is, and witchcraft is, a works of the flesh. The palm reading, the tarot cards, and all that stuff. And so if you just open your Bible, because here's what happened to me one time. I was just saying, what is going on in this place? This place is crazy. So I did some research. I said, okay, there's an old book, the Book of the Dead. Let me read it. And God wouldn't let me read it. I read it, but I was being judged. And he forced me. He wouldn't let me read the Book of the Dead and study it. He forced me to read Leviticus. Literally. A friend called and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm reading the Book of Leviticus. He said, why? And come to find out, he was probably a Freemason. And they were using him as a spy. Why? That's a hard book. I thought you wasn't an educated man. How do you know it's a hard book? So some of these people are agents that want to get in and find out what you're doing. I said, I'm being forced to read the Book of Leviticus. Some of these people are Freemason agents that pretend to be dumb and pretend to not know what's going on, but it's all a big sorcery game to steal, kill, and destroy. They'll set up an insurance. They'll try to get you under some kind of insurance policy to turn you into Illuminati sacrifice or whatever. And notice the chaos in January and February, it's all calm, cool, collected. And then in March, April, May, it starts to ramp up again. They're trying to get a sacrifice for the Burning Man and Halloween, because they take the insurance from other people. That's how they get rich. They play these games. They try to set you up, play games. And you might say, well, how did they learn it? They started learning it from a child. They learned it from their mama. They learned it from their grandmother. They learned it from their girlfriends, the witches. It's real, people. And so what you really see in society, in our society, in other societies, is different. But what our main battle is here in this society is the matriarchy versus the patriarchy. Why do you think they're trying to bring in all the Catholics from Mexico? Because there's a matriarchy down there. They really have a matriarchy in Mexico and in South America. So it's the matriarchy versus the patriarchy. But higher, deeper than that, it's the witches versus the Freemasons and the Jesuits and the Kabbalists and the Caliphate. All these priest class trying to rule this place. The Caliphate, all of them. And so each little nation has a priest class set up, and I would say that it's probably set up via the Catholics. The Catholics probably set it up in all these nations. So behind it all is the Catholic Church. That's why it's Babylon. That's why they talk about Jesus, but they never say you must be born again. Why don't they talk about John chapter 3? John chapter 3 is obvious. You must be born again. We go in here and eat some of this food. They always have this weird vibe in here. I don't know what that is. Some kind of weird vibe. The matriarchy versus the patriarchy. But deeper than that is the witches versus the Jesuits and the Freemasons. Why do you think the Freemasons are going to build the temples? They built all the temples over in Israel. They built all those buildings. Why do you think Rihanna said, we're going to rule this mother? Look at that. I come up here, I just drive in, and I just see like 10 people walk in. To me, and I think he had 23 on his shirt. To me, that's a red flag. And they came out of nowhere. They did not look like firemen. If they were, that's a motley crew. That was a red flag. I pull up and 10 people walk in the front door. It's a motley crew for sure. And you might say, well, books, you're crazy. No, I'm not. It's a book. It's the same battle. It's the same battle in Genesis. You got the saints, the born-again Christians. The flesh creatures always destroy themselves, and all their plans always fall apart. They have some plan for you, and it failed, so they got to bring in new people, and they got to regroup. They try to set you up through neuro-linguistic programming. They try to program your thoughts. They try to study you, and they keep it on a database. And when you grow every 2 or 3 months, it blows their mind because they think you're going to be stuck in a pattern that they can manipulate and do the same thing. But after you see enough Delilahs and enough Jezebels, you've already played the game. You already know what the game is. This is real, and it's happening in your life right now. If you're saved, they want an Illuminati sacrifice. They want you to die. They want you to jump off that bridge over. They want you to be stressed and worried and financially stressed because they're sold out to the devil. And some of them are just puppets. They're just puppets. It's 1:42. Maybe it's maybe I didn't change my clock back. That's what it is. Probably 12:42. That's why. I thought it was almost 2 o'clock. Look at those clouds. They're all repeating. That's a simulation. Look at those windows. They repeat. Look at the telephone poles, the dashes, the trees. It's a simulation, people. It's a storybook. It's a script. Why do you think that never-ending story, the girl's in there saying, call my name, call my name, call my name? Look how stupid this is. I never understood why people just walk down the middle of the road. Look how stupid it is. That mobile drive-thru is completely empty and all these cars are backed up. That was a bad decision right there. Bad. So I called that one wrong. I was looking at the time and I thought it was 1:44. It's actually 12:44. Because I didn't turn my time back. Why would she say, call my name, call my name? And why do all the witches love that? Why do all the witches love that? It's never in the story. Why do they love that? Because they believe that they can write their own reality. They believe they can script their own reality, but there's an overarching reality. Yeah, you might be able to affect tomorrow, and you might be able to sow a seed, but did God put that in your heart to build that business or whatever? Do you think those are your thoughts? Do you think those are your thoughts? Do you not know that was written into your DNA from the get-go before you were even born? God knew you in the womb. Hello? The reason you think somebody's crazy who can see past 3D is because you've never seen past 3D and you've never rightly divided the word. You didn't spend 30 years of your life studying, maybe 35 years of your life studying the word, right? When you study that word every day of your life and meditate on it every day, I just spent an hour using that ChatGPT about the millennium and the glorified saints and absent from the body, present with the Lord. But there's other verses that say at the rapture, they get their new body. And so I went through that to figure that out. So at the rapture, the ones who are raptured, you got the ones in the grave that come up and the ones that are raptured. But the ones in the grave are already seated in the heavenlies in Christ. So then what happens is you go to the bema seat and you're judged for deeds done in the body. But absent from the body, present with the Lord. And then you take and you see what happens after the tribulation and the millennium. And you see the camp of the saints are attacked. But you see the glorified saints walking down here for 1,000 years, ruling and reigning. But you also see the kings of the earth going against God. So the unsaved people, you have the glorified saints kind of ruling over this place, but there's still natural humans, kings, that the glorified saints are kind of saying, go this way, under Christ, under the rule of Christ. So if Jesus and the saints rule in the millennium, and the glorified saints are ruling and reigning with him for 1,000 years, then who's ruling and reigning now? The priest class, the devil's crowd, the devil's minions. You can't see the devil, but he's still, you can't see the archons, you can't see the cosmocrators, the unseen, but they're there. And so just like Jesus could walk through a wall and disappear, the glorified saints, they don't have to eat. They'll be here 1,000 years. They don't have to eat. They can walk through walls just like Jesus. Because when you see him, you'll be like him. And so the devil can appear. They can do their little rituals, and the devil appears, says, do this, do this, do this. And he disappears. And they have to do what the devil tells them to do. Because the kingdom, they're in that kingdom. You do what the king says, or you suffer loss. So the devil will tell the unsaved through magician priest class, that covers them all, do this, do this, do this. Shut him down. Lie about him. deceive him, send a Jezebel, send a Delilah, send a witch. Attack him, shut him down. He knows too much truth. He knows too much. Pull him in. We can't destroy him, but we'll try to make him destroy himself, you know. Mess him up. We know this works. This is what slows him down. Do this. We don't want people listening because they might get set free, and we don't want the captive. We want them to be slaves to the Pharaoh, which really the Pharaoh was controlled by the devil, right? Same spirit as happening now with the narcissist. The narcissists are run by the same spirit that controlled the Pharaoh, and the narcissists want to keep you a slave and keep you in confusion and depression and get you off your calling and off your flow and all that stuff. So I used the last 5 days to do a deep dive. How do you change this time? This is ridiculous. Time. Setting. So I used the last 5 days. Use the last 5 days to do a deep dive to try to see what was really going on in the spirit realm. What kind of attack was being set up. And it's weird how you're trying to figure it out in one path and you go down a rabbit hole to this path. And I'm not talking about a negative rabbit hole, a good rabbit hole, because I was starting to study the dispensations and the glorified saints for the 1,000 years, and then it pushed me down another path, and I said, "Oh, it's written. Anybody trying to get you off script is trying to mess up your destiny. Just like when the devil tempted Jesus, it is written. I don't care who it is." Narcissist, psychopath, sociopath, Jezebel, Delilah. If anybody's trying to get you off your script and try to put stuff in your mind, they are controlled by another script, the fake reality script. I just don't want to go in here with all these people. I'm gonna go to Subway. I know it's not busy, and I'm using this time too. I'm not frustrated. I thought it was like an hour later than it is. And so anybody, I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, your sister, your wife, your brother, your friend, or your co-worker, or your pastor, or anybody who's trying to get you off script is running by what spirit? The anti-spirit. It is written. If you got a wife trying to usurp the man's authority, it is written. She's running by the wrong spirit. Period. I don't care if you like it or not. If she's trying to usurp the man's authority, if you got employees trying to usurp the boss, they're running on the wrong spirit. They're trying to write another book, from another book, the Book of the Dead, or the Book of Enoch, or any book that they want to come up with, because if they can pull you into another book beside the Bible, they can confuse you and create a fake reality script. But if you stay on point, stay in the Bible, always compare it to the Bible, you're safe. The script was written the script was ripped from T, the letter T at the end of script. What is T? T is the cross. The script was ripped from T. T is the cross. So what does that mean? That means your daily script is the same. The flesh versus the spirit. Delusions versus truth. Fake reality bubbles versus listen to the revelation of the Bible. Fake scripts, God's script. Your will, God's will. Your understanding, His truth. If you walk by your own understanding, you're going to fall into a fake reality script. It's for real. If you go by your own understanding, you will be susceptible to fall into a witch's coven script. How are they going to pull you in? Flattery, half-truth, save me, empathy, sympathy. Save me, call my name. Emotions, call my name. What was that character's name? And here's another way you can know that you're in a book. He's a funny character. He's a strange character. Get on the stage. The actors go on a stage. It's all staged. It's all staged. When you become a target, they create all these little agents. Try to pull you in. And then when you start to say, hey, wait a minute, you're not going by truth. When one of these agents is trying to pull you in and you say, you're not telling the truth. This is not real. This is fake. Get real, show back up. But until you get real, I'm done. Put God first. Let God be true and every man a liar. And so if you stay on script, you're just like Roadrunner, and Wile E. Coyote can't touch you. Stay on script, people. And I'm talking to myself, mainly. Like I say, I use this platform to talk through some stuff for myself. But it's a fractal reality, so it helps somebody else along the way. Because I already know what you're dealing with, because the same thing you're dealing with, I'm dealing with.